monthly checks for the low income, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income. I have all the details and what you need to know right here in the video, so let's get right into it. I know in this video we're specifically talking about monthly checks for the low income, otherwise referred to as guaranteed basic income, universal basic income, recurring monthly checks, ongoing monthly checks, monthly stimulus checks, or a million other names that we could always call these things, but it's all essentially the exact same thing. Well, if you've been watching the videos here on the channel for any length of time now, I've been talking about all of these for the last few years now. We've covered all of them individually, but I've had some of you here in the community reaching out to me down below in the comment section asking, what's the difference between guaranteed basic income and universal basic income? Who would be eligible for ongoing or recurring stimulus checks and all the details like this? And ultimately, who would be eligible to get all of these types of payments in the event something like this actually did happen? These are some great questions, and again, exactly what I want to focus on here in this video because there are major differences. And like I said at the beginning of this video, ongoing monthly checks for the low income, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income, a major difference from universal basic income. So I want to break down the differences of all these types of payments and what they're also saying out there in the headlines right now. There's some shocking information. I'll give you a little figure really quickly. There's a new study that came out where some people are suggesting AI, artificial intelligence, could replace 80% of the jobs in this country. That's a lot. A lot of people, 80% of people could be out of work because of AI. Do you think that there's going to be guaranteed basic income at that point? Yeah, 100% guaranteed there would be, okay? Anyway, let's talk through the details. And again, we can talk about that whole AI thing a little bit later in this video, or I can even come back in a dedicated video and talk about that as well. That's a pretty shocking number, right? That's a lot of people that'd be out of a job in the event something like that actually happened, which, by the way, that'd be about, I don't know, 120 million people that'd be out of a job, roughly, give or take a little bit. That's a lot. There's no way that this economy could sustain that. Anyway, let's come back to that and talk about it a little bit later. All right, so really briefly here, let's talk through the differences of monthly checks, otherwise known as guaranteed basic income, universal basic income, recurring monthly checks, ongoing monthly checks, monthly stimulus checks, like I said earlier, like a million different names. Seriously, there's so many different names, essentially calling it the exact same thing. However, there is a major difference between guaranteed basic income and universal basic income, okay? Let me break these down really quickly. In fact, as of right now, there's about 100 different guaranteed basic income programs that are going on all around the country. Literally right now, as we speak, there's 100 different guaranteed basic income programs. How many universal basic income programs? 0. Okay, they're very similar, these two types of programs, but as you can see here, one is wildly popular. The other one, well, it's a great idea to talk about, but it's not something that's actually in practice and actually being implemented. So here's the differences between guaranteed basic income, GBI, and universal basic income, UBI, okay? Here's the differences, both of which do send out ongoing monthly checks, both of which have no strings attached payments. In other words, you can spend the money on whatever you want. Here is the difference. Income-based. Guaranteed basic income goes out to a specified group of people, mostly identified by income. Universal basic income would go out to everybody regardless of income level. So under a universal basic income program, you could have a person that has $5,000 a year of income, a person that has $5 million a year of income, and everybody in between would get a check, okay? Everybody. So that's why universal basic income programs are fun to talk about. It's a conversation piece, but that's about it. That's about all it is. It's right. It's like a hood ornament on a car, right? Fun to look at. You kind of want to grab it. If you had a wire cutter, you'd probably want to grab one. Just saying, as I was a kid, I always wanted to do that. Never did, but you know what I'm saying, right? It's like a good old hood ornament. Who doesn't want one of those? They look cool, right? But at the end of the day, that's about all it is. It looks cool. It's not practical. It has no purpose other than that, right? Which, by the way, when it comes down to guaranteed basic income programs, these are very popular. Now, why? These are the programs that are in place right now, over 100 of them across the country right now, sending out ongoing monthly checks to pre-specified groups of people, income thresholds, okay? That's the difference between these. Universal basic income has no income threshold. Everybody gets a check. If you're living, if you're breathing, if you're blinking, you get a check, okay? Whereas guaranteed basic income programs, no, it doesn't really work that way. They basically identify certain groups of people, mostly identified by income. They're always low income, by the way. There's no such thing as a high income guaranteed basic income program. There's no programs out there, not right now anyway, maybe at some point in the future. I don't really think so, but maybe at some point in the future. But these programs are always focused on low income. It's not like they have a program out there that says, hey, if you're a millionaire, apply for this guaranteed basic income program. We'll send you $500 a month. It doesn't happen, okay? Those do not exist. That is not a thing. But anyway, when it comes down to these guaranteed basic income programs, these are the ones that focus on lower income individuals. Now, the income thresholds do change sometimes on these programs, but generally it's about maybe $50,000 to $75,000 as an individual and around $100,000 to $150,000 as a married couple. Depends on which program you're looking at any given time, the flavor of the day. That's generally the thresholds on these things, okay? Now, again, the 100 different programs that are going on all around the country right now are pre-specified in different areas. There's a lot of them in California. Just saying. There's some in Chicago. There's some in New York, East Coast states, and everywhere in between. There's different programs that are going on all across the country. There's some that are going on in like Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi. Again, they're all over the place, okay? Not just these states. There's just a few of them that I can think of off the top of my head. But these are going on all across the country. And basically what they do is they identify a certain area. They have an allocation of money, and they say, hey, we're going to choose, 500 people, 1,000 people, 5,000 people, like the one in Chicago and the ones in LA, Los Angeles. And they choose all these people, and then they say, we're going to set you up with these ongoing monthly checks, no strings attached. Generally, it's $500. Sometimes they go up to as much as about $1,250 a month. But usually most of these programs are about $500 a month, and it's no strings attached. You can do whatever you want with it. You can save it, you can spend it, you can buy a dog, you can buy a cat, you can buy a car, you can buy a refrigerator, you can buy, I don't know, a lifetime supply of bananas. It literally doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want with it, okay? So that's the cool thing about the no strings attached payments. And again, there are some lawmakers that are currently in Congress right now that want to implement $1,200 ongoing monthly checks that are administered on a nationwide level rather than on a state-by-state, city-by-city, county-by-county level like what's going on right now across the entire country. So now obviously that one is still on standby. That one has not been passed yet, but there are lawmakers currently in Congress right here, right now as we speak that want to get a $1,200 ongoing nationwide monthly check for the low income. And again, that'd be $75,000 as an individual, $150,000 as a married couple. I've made dedicated videos talking about that, so I don't want to get into a ton of detail about it. But these are very popular, and the trajectory of this country and where things are going right now, like I said, with AI taking over, artificial intelligence, we've heard it from very influential and powerful people before that have suggested it's inevitable at some point in the future we will likely have some type of guaranteed basic income program here in this country simply because there's going to be a lot of people that are out of jobs simply being taken over by robots. Let's take a minute here and talk about that report. I found this to be very fascinating. The people that are coming out talking about this are suggesting we could see upwards of 80% of jobs here in this country completely taken over by automation, otherwise known as robots or AI, artificial intelligence, simply because there's a lot of jobs out there that can simply be replaced and be automated, right? So we've seen this before in fast food restaurants. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this sometimes? In some locations around the country, they are implementing this. This is a real thing, not just like a theory, not just like some, pie in the sky type of thing. This is a real thing that is already happening. Some fast food joints out there are completely automated. Completely automated. No people. It's all robots running the show. So you could pull up to the drive-through line or whatever and say, hey, yo, I want a, whatever type of sandwich or whatever you want. And then, they'll say, your total is, $6.38, pull around to the first window, right? You pull up to the window and you pay through, putting your money into a vending machine or, when I say vending machine, I simply mean like one of those things that like sucks bills in, or you simply swipe a card and then it all pops your bag of food, right? It's happening right now. So that right there, how many people work in one of those restaurants at any given time? Honestly, I don't really know. Maybe is it 6, maybe 5, maybe it's 8. I'm not really sure, but there's a number of different people that work in those at any given time. Well, that's those people that are not in a job because there's robots that are simply doing the whole thing. So anyway, interesting concept, but these are the differences between monthly checks, as in guaranteed basic income, and universal basic income. Let me give you a couple quick examples really fast here of some of these that have already gone out, okay? One of the classics that we talked about a couple years ago and that they continue to talk about bringing back is the child tax credit payments that went out in the second half of 2021. Remember these? July through December of 2021, 38 million households got collectively about $16 billion a month, every single month for 6 months straight. An average household was getting $422 a month. What were they? The advanced child tax credit payments. So basically, if your income was below the thresholds that make you eligible for it, every single month, on the 15th of the month during that time, July through December of 2021, the 15th of every month, they got a check or money deposited right there in their account. That is a classic guaranteed basic income program. They're eligible based on income thresholds. They have the dependents to make them eligible to receive it, and boom, they get a deposit every single month. Okay, so that is a classic guaranteed basic income example right there, okay? Income thresholds, the other parameters, thresholds, as in you must have a dependent, and boom, you get a check every month, okay? Month in, month out, checks going for 6 months straight. So that's a perfect one. Now let's quickly talk about the stimulus checks really, really fast here. Remember the stimulus checks we got in 2020, early 2020, late 2020, early 2021. We got 3 of them, right? Those were very similar to a guaranteed basic income program as well. The only difference was they were not ongoing. They were just a one-time payment. However, if they would have continued with them for any length of time versus just a one-time check, it would have been a classic guaranteed basic income program again. Why do I say guaranteed basic income versus universal basic income? Because they did not go out to everybody. The first round of checks that we got, the $1,200, those went out to individuals earning up to $100,000 and married couples earning up to $200,000. The second 2 rounds of checks went out to individuals earning up to $75,000 and married couples earning up to $150,000, okay? That's all you had to do in order to be eligible. Any income below the thresholds, you got a check. In fact, about 85% of the population got the last check, the $1,400 check, 85% of the population. In other words, 15% of the population earned over the thresholds, making them ineligible to get that check. Okay, so again, if those would have continued for any length of time versus just a one-time payment, that would have been another classic example of a guaranteed basic income program. Anyway, I hope that illustrates a little bit more clearly as far as what these programs are, the popularity of guaranteed basic income. We've been seeing a lot of these popping up lately, and we will see many more of these as states are sitting on billions of dollars of federal money, and they need to spend that federal money by the end of next year. Otherwise, it needs to be brought back to the federal government. So anyway, I want to bring this to your attention here, what's going on. Of course, I'm going to continue watching all these very closely as I get more information on anything, but I hope this clarifies a little bit more clearly the differences between guaranteed basic income, universal basic income, ongoing monthly checks, recurring stimulus checks, whatever other names we can possibly call it. There's a lot of different names out there, but these are the differences. And when it comes down to it, the most popular is guaranteed basic income. We already see it. It's happening. It has happened. It will happen again. And I just want to bring this to your attention. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, anything like that, if you want me to elaborate further, please let me know down below in the comment section. I do my best to read as many comments as I can each and every day. Otherwise, I just want to do what I can to keep you updated with everything going on, to bring you information, whatever I can, to point out anything out there you can possibly grab or take advantage of. So please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Hope this one helps you, and catch you.